Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. Coming up tonight, find out what caused this nun to say this to me.
What a question. Am I planning my own funeral? I've done it, Emma, and I've got it all ready, so be sure to bring the television to see what they do for me, and they'd better do it right.
And after the news that Sacha Baron Cohen is to star in a film called Grimsby, we caught up with homegrown Hollywood director Rob McClellan about his forthcoming movie.
Well, recently I secured a feature film deal with MGM in America, so I'm now set to direct my first feature film.
And joining me in the studio is Stu Cox for a look ahead at the weekend sport. But first, here's James Dunn with the news headlines.
A man climbed on top of a roof and refused to come down in gale force winds yesterday. Police and fire officers tried to negotiate his descent, but he was on the roof for more than 3 hours in winds so powerful that they were blowing the tiles off of roofs of nearby properties. The wind caused widespread damage and disruption in the area yesterday. The Environment Agency warned some people to evacuate their homes as the coastline braced itself for the most serious coastal tidal surge for 30 years because of high tides and gale force winds. The Humber Bridge was temporarily closed to all traffic as conditions became dangerous. In Hull, a warehouse collapsed on Clough Road, and in the Scunthorpe area, a high-sided vehicle overturned on the M181. Branching out to survive is something the occupants of the Ensley Mercy Centre in Hull know all about. Run by the Sisters of Mercy, the former teaching training centre has become a conference and wedding venue. The building, which dates back to the 1900s, has seen the last remaining 2 nuns take up social media to survive. Sister Catherine already has a Facebook and a Twitter account.
I can Skype and I can do emails. Of course, if you want to be in business in this world, you've got to use social media. If you want to be a Sister of Mercy and to connect with the world and to spread what you're about, you've got to be in social media.
A nursery school has raised more than £100 for relief aid in the Philippines, as one of their students still remains missing there. Scartho Nursery School pupil Victoria Go Bembridge was on holiday with her parents near Tacloban when Typhoon Haiyan hit in November, killing thousands. The nursery has been fundraising ever since, and 4 weeks later, Victoria, Dad Colin and Filipino mum Maybelle are still missing, but the school hasn't given up hope.
We, as a school, we've tried to raise funds for the appeal and just to raise awareness of what's happened out there, really. And obviously, with Victoria being a member of our school team, we want her to be remembered, and there's not a lot really that we can do, so hopefully raising awareness and raising funds for the appeal should help.
Humberside Police have promised to update the nursery of any developments, but there are none as yet. Students in Cleethorpes are giving a red card to racism. North East Lincolnshire councillors, including Grimsby Town Club chairman John Fenty, went into Humberston Academy to teach children why the game has a zero-tolerance approach to racial discrimination. Mr Fenty said the initiative was to open children's eyes to racism. All sorts of
minority groups that could be affected. We'll take travellers, gypsies for want of a better description. It could be any group in society that could face some sort of racism.
A pop-up restaurant has already raised £7,000 for a hospice in Grimsby. Chef Andrew O'Connor set up the restaurant in St Andrew's Hospice, and more than 2/3 of the tickets for the 4-course meal have already sold. The opening night this week was a great success, and organisers now hope they can sell the remaining tickets and meet their fundraising target of £10,000. Sacha Baron Cohen is to star in a movie called Grimsby. The star was spotted in Grimsby this summer, and filmmakers have now confirmed it's a spy spoof in which Cohen is forced to go on the run with his football hooligan brother. The movie will be directed by the Incredible Hulk director Louise Leterrier. A service at Grimsby Hospital celebrated an interesting milestone, having tested more than 25,000 babies for hearing abnormalities. Of those, just 51 were found to have a problem, but were then offered help to minimise the impact on their development. The test is simple. Children are played a series of clicking sounds over just a few minutes and can even be done while the baby is asleep. If you want to know more, you can go along to the seminar room in the Family Services Department for the open day on Tuesday, December the 10th, from 10 AM till 4 PM. We all get a little heavier over Christmas, but this weekend, so will the Christmas carols. Grimsby Minster hosts a very heavy Christmas concert on Saturday from 5:30 p.m, which is your chance to sing along to a heavy metal versions of all your festive favourites. Entrance is free, but any donations will go to homeless charities, including the YMCA, Harbour Place and Care North East Lincolnshire.
You don't associate rock music with a carol service, and you don't associate people rocking in the aisles of a church sort of thing. So I think from that point of view, people can expect to come along and just have a great time doing something that you won't get the opportunity to do very often.
That's all from Estuary TV News. See you for the next bulletin.
Typhoon Haiyan, which devastated the Philippines 4 weeks ago, is still in people's minds. At one nursery school near Grimsby, even more so, as they've lost a pupil. James Dunn went to meet them.
This is Scartho Nursery School. It's thousands of miles away from the Philippines, where Typhoon Haiyan killed thousands of people last month. But they too are feeling the impact. Children here are wondering where their friend is. 3-year-old Victoria Go Bembridge. Her mum, May Bell, is Filipino and the family were on holiday when the disaster hit last month.
What we've tried to explain is that sometimes you lose something and sometimes it takes us a real short space of time to find it. Sometimes it takes us a really long time to find something. You might have lost your keys or your purse or a bag, and it takes a while, and this is what's happening with Victoria. They're looking for Victoria, but it's just taken a little bit longer to find her.
Victoria and her parents have now been missing for 4 weeks, and Scartho Nursery School has raised more than £100 to aid with the relief effort. Her playmates may not fully understand what is happening, but they want her back.
I want she to come back and play with me.
The search continues, and Humberside Police have promised to update the nursery with any new information. And until that point, they refuse to give up hope.
She's a lovely little girl. She's got a real bubbly personality, a lovely infectious laugh, and she's just a lovely little girl. Seeing it, and it's so real, and somebody that you know, it's hit us really hard actually here. But no, we're just hopeful that she'll return to school and she'll play with her friends again.
A touching story. Well, recently I went to meet the staff at a centre in Hull who over the years have had to change the way they operate. And if I said to you Sisters of Mercy, some of you showing your age may think I'm talking about the Gothic band, but you'd be wrong. I'm of course referring to the Nuns based down the Beverley Road. For 150 years, this building in Hull has been home to the Sisters of Mercy. Now, no longer a convent, the staff, led by Sister Catherine, have had to diversify their business interests.
Teacher training stopped in the middle of the 70s when the college merged with university. And then in the late 90s, the university took over the whole lot and we came out of teacher training fully. After that then there were 70 to 80 sisters here once upon a time, and they turned it into a pastoral centre, and now it is a pastoral and conference centre. So the sisters have changed and grown and moved on, and we've had to move on too.
The centre houses a beautiful hall and chapel bedecked with statues and murals. But don't be fooled. They're well into their 21st century forms of communication.
Of course I've got a Facebook page and a Twitter page, and I can Skype and I can do emails. Of course, if you want to be in business in this world, you've got to use social media. If you want to be a Sister of Mercy and to connect with the world and to spread what you're about, you've got to be in social media.
But what of the future? The staff here are kept very busy. But will it continue when the sisters leave?
Sister Kathleen and I are here. I wouldn't call us the last two nuns. We're here. We don't know who'll come next. We've got hundreds of sisters up and down the country, so one never knows. Will this place survive without us? Of course it will. It's lasted for nearly 200 years, so, it's got a future. Whatever happens, we've got a wonderful staff, and they will take it forward. But I wouldn't know when that day will come. I'm not ready to die yet, but should it happen, don't worry too much. Just give me a good send-off.
What a fabulous character is Sister Catherine. Moving on, Cleethorpes-born Rob McClellan has recently been signed up to write and direct a feature film for MGM based on a short movie he made called Abe, about a robot who wants to be loved. On a recent visit to talk to students at his former college in Grimsby, I caught up with him. Fantastic story, the fact that the film that has been picked up by them is a film that you have written and directed yourself. Just talk about what this feature film is going to be.
Well, Abe is the story of a robot that just wants to be loved. And it's the story of a robot that's not really been programmed to understand why people don't love him in return. So it's kind of his journey from friendly household robot to serial killing psychopathic robot. But it's an emotional journey, believe it or not, and it's really a story about what it's like to be alone and lonely, and it's kind of using the robot as an analogy of all that. So.
Now, you went over to Los Angeles where your movie was bid for by the companies. What was that experience like? Was it a bit surreal?
It was. I mean, it was literally, I literally got off the plane and was straight into pitching my idea for a feature version of the short film I'd made. And went from studio to studio, went from Fox to MGM to Warner Brothers to Sony to QED, and everyone loved it, and the response was just overwhelmingly positive, more than I ever hoped. And it did. It got into a bidding war in which the studios were all wanting a piece of it in some capacity, and in the end we chose MGM because they wanted us to make the film the way we want to make it, but with them, so it's great.
And this whole process, when's this all happening then?
Well, it's happening now. I mean, the deal's already been made. I'm now officially making the Abe feature film. At the moment, I'm in a period of writing. That's going to go on till the end of November. Then I move out to LA and we're going to prep and hopefully shoot in early next year. So.
And when can people expect to see this in the cinema then?
Well, there's no official release date set for the film yet. A rough idea would be the end of 2014, beginning of 2015, but it's definitely within kind of a year and a half process it should be. So.
And now it's over to Stu Cox with a look ahead at the weekend sport.
Thanks, Emma. After Tuesday's 3-0 FA Trophy win over Colville, in which Dale Southwell scored a hat-trick, a potential game with the big boys await Grimsby Town as the FA Cup as they face Northampton in the second round on Saturday. A win could see Grimsby face one of the hosted teams, including Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United or even our very own Hull City. Talking of Hull City, after their 2-0 defeat to Arsenal on Wednesday, Hull are in action on Monday night, travelling to the Capital One Cup holders Swansea with an 8 o'clock kick-off. Appleby Frodingham will be hoping to pull away from the bottom of the Northern Counties East Division 1 League as they are away against the oldest team in the world, Hallam FC. Brigg beat Scarborough Athletic 2-0 in the Dudson Cup on Tuesday night. Jordan Thulis and Liam Deckins getting the goals to get Brigg into the hat for the next round. On Saturday they host Chasetown, where only 3 points separate the sides. Lincoln Moorlands will be hoping last weekend's 11-0 defeat to Pickering Town is a one-off when Parkgate visit Newick Road on Saturday. Moorlands have had a torrid season so far, conceding 118 goals. Lincoln are also in action as they travel to Hale as well. And that's it for the weekend sport. Get out there.
Thank you, Stu. Whistle stop tour though. That's it from Estuary News. Join us again tomorrow. Goodbye.